I wasn't expecting Caitlin Clark to be coming back this early, but ESPN put out an article earlier this week, kind of summing up. They was predicting Caitlin Clark to be back by August the 12th. Now, this just came out of the pipeline of the Indiana Fever front office. Let's pull it up right now.
Almost nobody expected this news to drop so soon. Just days earlier, ESPN had released projections suggesting Caitlin Clark wouldn't return until around August 12th, which seemed realistic given how cautious teams usually are with soft tissue injuries. That's why the sudden update from the Indiana Fever front office felt like a shockwave. Out of nowhere, Clark's status was upgraded to a game-time decision. After weeks of silence, rumors, and uncertainty, the league's biggest star might be back far earlier than expected. This wasn't a small update. It instantly changed the tone of the entire WNBA season.
Is a game-time decision. She is a game-time decision. She is, as far as I'm aware, someone said she's listed as questionable on the app. Someone said on the app she's listed as questionable. But she is a game-time decision, apparently. Look, if we're going to be honest, no, she's a game.
Caitlin Clark returning isn't just about Indiana getting its star back. It's about the league getting its heartbeat back. Clark isn't simply a top scorer or a popular rookie. She's the engine that drives attention, conversation, and revenue. Her presence impacts TV schedules, marketing strategies, venue sizes, and even how opposing teams price their tickets. The fact that her injury status alone can dominate sports headlines tells you everything you need to know about where the WNBA is right now.
Clark may be back, and that will leave a run of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games left to get ready for the playoff run. Right now, you're looking at the Atlanta Dream, or you're looking at the Phoenix Mercury, which should be very interesting considering all the plots around that.
The numbers paint a brutal picture. Before Clark's injury on July 15th, Indiana Fever games averaged an incredible 1.81 million viewers. Once she went down, that number crashed to just 847,000. That's a 53% drop. Even worse, overall WNBA viewership across all games fell by roughly 55% during her absence. That kind of collapse doesn't happen by accident. It revealed just how dependent the league's current growth has become on one player being on the floor.
Argue this intelligently. No one person means as much to their league, whatever league it is, as Caitlin Clark means to the WNBA. And no person has done more for their league than what Caitlin Clark has done for the WNBA. Patrick Mahomes does not mean that much to the NFL. Steph Curry does not mean that much to the NBA. LeBron James does not mean that much to the NBA. She is a monster. When we look back on this, Caitlin Clark will be for the WNBA what
people try to compare Caitlin Clark to stars in other leagues, but the comparison always falls apart. Patrick Mahomes doesn't single-handedly hold up the NFL. LeBron James doesn't decide whether the NBA survives week to week. Steph Curry doesn't determine whether arenas sell out across the league. Clark's influence is closer to Magic Johnson and Larry Bird combined, athletes whose presence didn't just elevate the game, but rescued it. Except Clark is doing this in real time, largely on her own.
You can't tell me that the Caitlin Clark effect isn't real. You knew when news broke yesterday that Caitlin Clark was going to be out for a few weeks, that ticket prices were going to go down, but I never expected them to go down 71% for the rivalry game. I can't help but laugh because the first thing that I thought of when I saw this was a quote that we got last year from Angel Reese when she was talking about how people don't just watch the WNBA for Caitlin. They watch it because of her as well. Hate to say it, those numbers don't lie. They're watching because of Caitlin.
If TV ratings weren't convincing enough, the ticket market told the same story, loud and clear. With Clark in the lineup, Fever games averaged ticket prices around $137. Without her, prices dropped to roughly $80. Rivalry games saw even sharper declines, with some tickets losing more than 70% of their value. Games that were once premium experiences suddenly became budget outings. Teams that moved games to larger arenas expecting Clark-driven crowds were left holding the bag when she couldn't play.
Fever Sky tickets dropped 71% on TickPick after Caitlin Clark injury. The get-in price for the Chicago Sky versus Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever game was $86. After Caitlin Clark's injury announcement is now down to $25. And you Angel Reese fangirls will still believe and think that Angel Reese is the reason why people are watching the...
Economists stepped in and confirmed what fans already felt. Caitlin Clark's projected economic impact approaches $1 billion in a single season when factoring in ticket sales, merchandise, sponsorships, tourism, and television rights. One Indiana University study estimated that Clark alone accounted for roughly 27% of the entire WNBA's economic activity last season. For the Indiana Fever, her presence was valued at over $300 million, instantly transforming them into the league's most valuable franchise.
Verge of seeing Caitlin Clark become bigger than the sport herself. WNBA viewing attendance is up over 200% since she joined the league. The Indiana Fever actually are outselling the Pacers, averaging over 17,000 attendance per game. That's crazy. $1 billion is the estimated increase in WNBA valuation based on Caitlin Clark alone. $1 billion. Now, this is up about 25% from the total economic value. Crazy to see these kind of numbers. I think we're on the verge of seeing something like MJ Tiger, where the average consumer goes to the TV.
Clark's impact goes far beyond television. Since she entered the league, WNBA attendance has increased by more than 200%. The Indiana Fever are now outdrawing the NBA's Indiana Pacers, averaging over 17,000 fans per game. Merchandise sales have exploded as well. Dick's Sporting Goods reported a 233% increase in WNBA merchandise sales, while Fanatics saw sales jump more than 500%. Clark ranks among the top-selling athletes in all of sports, not just women's basketball.
And Kane said Caitlin will never be paid what she's worth by the WNBA because it is quite literally impossible for them to pay her what she's worth. An economist at Indiana University Columbus calculated that Caitlin Clark was responsible for $36 million in economic impact to the city of Indianapolis, and that she is responsible for 27% of the entire WNBA's economic activity for this past season, including attendance, merchandise sales, and television. One player in a big league responsible for 27%.
Despite all of that, Caitlin Clark is paid a fraction of what she's worth. Her reported $28 million Nike deal over 8 years dwarfs her WNBA salary, highlighting a massive gap between her value and the league's compensation structure. Even her own agent has admitted the WNBA can never realistically pay her what she's worth. She's carrying the financial hopes of players, teams, broadcasters, and sponsors, while being paid under a system that simply cannot match her impact.
If you're wondering about Odyssey, she is a guard, 5'8". She's a veteran, 33 years old. This is interesting. She's been an all-star. She's also was 2019 All-WNBA. 2014 All-Rookie Team. She's had some good seasons in here, folks. No, she doesn't have a great history with the three-point shot. But if Caitlin Clark is coming back...
During Clark's absence, the Indiana Fever weren't just missing a star, they were fighting to survive. Both backup point guards went down with season-ending injuries, forcing the team to sign veteran Odyssey Sims on a hardship contract. Despite the chaos, the Fever stayed competitive. Kelsey Mitchell stepped up as a primary ball handler, and Aaliyah Boston dominated in the paint. But everyone inside the organization knows the truth. They can survive without Clark, but they cannot thrive without her.
And playing 4 games and then not, and like not feeling the best, and then like frustrated of like how hard I worked in the off season, and then like all I do is rehab and like continue to do this process and just like trying to trust that the best I can. And obviously there's really frustrating days, and there's days where like it's a little bit easier and like you're very, very motivated and like you're close to the finish line of getting back and being back, and then like it's not like I have a training camp to like build up to like playing my first game again. It's like, no, like you're tossed into game 30, like go try to play well. Like
Clark has been honest about the psychological weight she carries. She knows that when she's not on the court, ratings drop, ticket prices fall, and momentum slows. Returning from injury without a training camp only adds to that pressure. She's talked about the frustration of constant rehab, stop-and-go progress, and being thrown directly into high-stakes games while still trying to feel right physically. This isn't just physical recovery. It's emotional pressure at a historic level.
On Saturday, June 14, Caitlin Clark returned to the court for the Indiana Fever after missing 5 games due to a quad injury. The Indiana Fever handed the New York Liberty their first loss of the season, and Caitlin Clark was at the center of it. She made a return with force, leading the charge on both ends of the floor, and she came back in dominant fashion, putting up 32 points, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds. Just shy of a 30-point triple-double in a 102-88 win over the New York Liberty. Now, even NBA's own LeBron James took notice, posting the
History tells us exactly what happens when Caitlin Clark returns. The last time she came back from injury, her game peaked at 2.8 million viewers and became one of the most watched WNBA games ever. Even this season, despite missing a large portion of games, nearly every WNBA broadcast that crossed 1 million viewers featured her. Networks know it. Teams know it. The league knows it. When Clark plays, attention follows.
Caitlin Clark continues to crush the viewership department and bring in those big ratings. This is from ESPN PR. This past Sunday, ABC aired another of its most watched WNBA games ever with the Indiana Fever's win over the Dallas Wings. It averaged 2.1 million viewers and peaked at 2.5 million viewers. WNBA on ESPN is up 7% from last season, man. What? The numbers are crazy. The numbers are crazy.
Caitlin Clark isn't just coming back to play basketball. She's returning as the centerpiece of an entire movement. She's brought in fans who never watched the WNBA before, broken attendance records, and turned women's basketball into must-watch television. But her absence exposed a dangerous reality. The league's momentum still revolves around one superstar. As she prepares to step back onto the floor, the question isn't whether she'll dominate again. The question is whether the WNBA can finally build something sustainable once the Golden Goose is back.